Now, you don't need a professional to tell you that the original Hello Neighbor game is a load of doo-doo fart sound effects. I played the game. I played pretty much every alpha that was available when they were rolling out, and saw channels milking it for absolutely everything it had to offer. I'll admit something here. I'm not the best at giving something up as being bad once the hype has started up. It kind of feels unreal for a game that's been brought up with so much excitement and support that it shapes out to be a major disappointment. It's almost like it definitely shouldn't happen. So during around Alpha 3, when everyone was shitting their pants about the new house having a giant boner, I was having a blast. I actually really enjoyed the new house, despite the fact that it was always nighttime in this build and was basically impossible to do anything. I will admit, the fact that it was so big that you barely ever saw the neighbor after reaching a certain point did kind of suck. However, at this time, having a game about an ever-learning AI was a pretty rad idea. And despite all the negativity that came with the Alpha 3 release's house, I actually had a lot of fun with the game. Now, a couple months after the full game was released, I had it for my Xbox One. I had played a little bit of the beta release after it was revealed at E3 2017. I was obviously very excited for the release of the game. But then on December 8th of that same year, the world was met with a buggy, unfinished version of what was seen as great. First of all, I want to talk about the evolution of this game's art style because it basically peaked right around Alpha 2 to 4 when it grew into this weird misshapen look, which, even though the gameplay wasn't all there yet, it was actually fairly charming and just built onto the game's character. However, they seem to have taken this notion a bit too far and decided to make even more angles into everything that they possibly could. And sure, even this version of the game isn't all bad, but my god, this game does not look good. I'm okay to some point with the jagged angles on everything, but the whole vibe of everything being decrepit and nasty really falls through because this game is just really ugly, man. There's so many weird blends of colors that just kind of meld together like a kindergarten's first drawing. It's usually hard to make out what the hell is going on, especially in a high intense chase. Speaking of which, I haven't really kept up on the lore that this series seems to have. At this point, I literally couldn't care less about who this crow motherfucker is.
It's tail time.
Despite this, I gave the first game credit because it actually did have a decent story that made sense. Even in the Alpha 1 for the game, it made sense. But they're throwing too much shit onto you hoping you understand it. Honestly, man, why are you making me play like 4 different games and read a bunch of trashy scholastic novels to get the full picture? So no. I don't know who this fucking crow guy is or what he means to the plot, but he just isn't really that scary or menacing at all. I guess they attempted to make him scary with this fucking obnoxious noise he makes anytime he's in your vicinity, which is the most degrading thing about him. I don't feel like going on and on and on about the bad AI, because I could definitely stretch out this video way longer with my experiences. Even when I started the game, I was able to just walk around mindlessly because he stood completely still in the back of the house. Then when I actually did something with him, he finally decides to wake up. Also, this is a very nitpicky thing, but I absolutely hate this new catching mechanic where he drags you on the ground like a limp dick baby through a Walmart, then proceeds to volley you onto your side of the house, dropping all your items in the process. And this wouldn't be that big a deal if it wasn't for 2 main reasons. 1. This animation is extremely glitchy and quite unnecessary. Although unrealistic, I do think that the old grabbing and blackout animation served its duty. Even though being caught became less scary and more of a pain, even then, at least you could start over on your 2 feet. The neighbor would be completely somewhere else in the house and you could continue as normal. Now you have to sit there patiently while the crow slowly pulls you to the same fate. 2. If the item in question you had came from the crow's house, then there's a good chance he might come and try to grab the item so that he can put it back in place. If you land near the item or anywhere close to his turf, he will instantly come at you, drag you back to his house, and then throw you again. Do you see now why this whole edition just becomes an even bigger pain in the rear? One of the things that they were hoping to do in this game rather than the first one is this open world aspect. In the first game, you're basically stuck only being at the house or near the also buggy and hollow grounds around it. It was pretty lifeless and weird. Now you get to walk around an even bigger area of hollowness and nothingness. I don't really think it's a good idea for you to be making all of this garbage when the main gameplay itself isn't even that great. Like, the point of an alpha release is not to show off your shitty shit map, it's to give the players a fucking version of the game to see if it works. It seems like you guys spent more time trying to get with this stupid asinine art style than you did the game itself. It also was extremely annoying when there would seem to be something important in the area not directly attached to the house. Then I would jump over to it and it would be absolutely nothing. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Actually, there is something that's completely vital to you actually beating the game. And no, I didn't just know this from the start like the game automatically wants you to. I had to look up a goddamn Let's Play. I don't understand this game's obsession with thinking that kids will want to sit down and play this game for hundreds of hours so that they can figure out a game that's about 20 minutes long. If they had thought about it more rationally, they would have realized that kids are dumb. I started out with 40 straight minutes of me running around attempting to figure the game out. Then the game crashed when I attempted to go to the main menu. No kid is gonna want to spend that much time figuring out that they had to go to this random ass area where there's an electricity box on the outside with a plug next to it. And I originally thought that I needed a power cord from the crow's house to charge it, but no. I didn't even know that this hatch was here, and you're supposed to use the gas inside of the store to power the box. How convenient! It's just a lot of random things mushed together with no rhyme or reason. What is the point in putting this here, or any of this here? I genuinely thought that they would have taken the time to make these puzzles actually make sense, but I guess not. So after I found this obscure area in order to beat the fucking game, I quickly went in and grabbed the crowbar and proceeded to go to this area to hack off these planks of wood. Then the game crashed, and I would have to start from the beginning. I then just watched someone else play the rest of the game. I watched the guy go in and use a fire extinguisher, which I will mention is literally to propel yourself into the air, stand there like a moron for about 2 minutes shooting the fire extinguisher at this fireplace to get a goddamn key. Then he used this random rope to swing towards the lock that sits on the front of the house. Then surprise, surprise, there's literally nothing important in the top area. I want you to take a wild guess of what you think that this man is to do next. It's okay. I'll give you a couple seconds to figure it out. All done? Well, the answer was to go to this random house to get a piece of candy in this obscure area, then move to another random house, open the hatch that sits in the top to get another piece of candy, move to another room in the area on the map, and place the engine, plug it into the wall on the opposite side, and we'll open this locked door to get a third piece of candy, fly up to the top of yet another random spot, break into this roof on the house to get a fourth piece of candy from a locker, then climb into another fucking house and do a bunch of parkour shit to get into this fridge sitting in the middle of a house and to get the fifth and final piece of candy. Then after collecting all 5 pieces, you're to go back to the center area and deliver these pieces of candy to the doll sitting in this room. Then the neighbor comes out and turns out this wasn't all real in the end. Amazing. Now, of course, all these critiques may change once the final game comes out, but I mean, come on, man. At this point, they're gonna keep servicing the lowest common denominator and appeal to the family-friendly channels that get on their hands and knees and beg for MatPat to make another theory about their shit game on Twitter. And I really hate talking about this game in such a negative light because I truly once was very touched by how charismatic and hopeful it was. Now it's all gone to shit. Absolute dog shit. Yes, I'll review this game again. Maybe there's an alpha build that fixes these grievances I have. Or maybe when the whole game comes out. But until then, at least we have their take on the Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts car building gameplay. So take that how you will.